Tav Chof Aleph Amud Beis, 6 lines from the top. Dorish Ravo, my Dirsiv, what's the pshat in the pasuk? In Shirashim it says, Adudoim Nasnu Reach. So the Dudoim, the flowers, Nasnu Reach, they gave off a fragrance. Ila Bachor Yisrael Shaloi Tam Tam Chet. This refers to the Bachor Yisrael, the young Bochrim of Yisrael, that they didn't have any chet. So the Dudoim, the flower, the violets, gave off a good fragrance, like the Bachur Yisrael, that Lui Tom Tom Chet, and they're so pure, and they have that fragrance. Va'al Psachenu Kol Megodim. So the pasuk continues and says that, and our doors were fine fruit, or good fruit. What is that referring to? That's El B'nai Yisrael Hashem Megidos Pischem L'Ba'aleim. That refers to the Mila, the praise of the B'nai Yisrael, the Pischem, they tell their husbands when they have their Zman Nida. So Pischem refers to the Pesach Nidosan. Lashon Acher, She'oigdos Pischem L'Ba'aleim. They're faithful to their husbands, they're Oigdos Pischem, they have their openings are closed for their husbands. So even though the pasuk itself, the pasuk Pshat is talking about fruit and flowers, but the drasha is that it's referring to the Mila of B'nai Yisrael and B'nai Yisrael. Chadashim gam yishanim da'iditzafontu. So it says, the pasuk continues and says that the Chadashim, the new ones, and also the old ones, that I've hidden for you. What does that mean? Amar Knesset Yisrael lifnei Kodesh Baruch. Kol Yisrael said before Rebbeinu Shalom Harbe Gzeres Gazarte Alatzmi Yosim Mimash Gazarte Laim V'Kiyamtin, that we were geyser on ourselves more Gzeres than you even made for us, and we kept them. So that's the pshat in the pasuk. It says that Chadashim Gam Yishanim Dari Tzafantilach. I've hidden for you, I've kept for you, I've kept the new ones and also the old ones. The old ones that you were geyser, and we added on to it, made new gzeras. The Rabbanan made additional gzeras, even more gzeras, and we're mekayim them. He said to the Rabbanan, the Rav that was arranging the Agadas in front of him, did you hear a pshat in Chadashim Gam Yishanim? Amrlei, he said, Eila mitzvahs kalos, Eila mitzvahs chamors. The Chadashim and Yishanim are the more kal ones, the lenient ones, and the more chomedik ones. So he said, well, it says new and old. It says new and old in the pasuk. So was the Torah, you're saying that the kalas and chamors was the Torah given twice? The Torah was given once. Koilel, including both the chamor and the kal. It encompasses both the chomer and the kal. The pasuk says old and new, which means two different stages. Eli said the pshat is halala medivrei Torah, halala medivrei seifrim. But it means at an earlier stage and a later stage. There's the divrei Torah and the divrei seifrim that were added on, that the seifrim and the rabbanon added on at a later stage. It says more than that. Be careful, asois svarim harbe. So in Koheles it says that be careful. It's the being mazir that you should make many svarim. So we darshan b'ni hizar b'divrei seifrim yosim b'divrei Torah. He's zoyer b'ni on svarim, on divrei seifrim. Be even more careful on divrei seifrim than on divrei Torah. Shadivrei Torah yesh mesir leisase, because not all the mitzvahs in the Torah, these svarim in the Torah, have a chiv misa. They don't all have a chiyuv. I mean, some are essays, some are lois essays, some are an essay, and he doesn't even get malchus. Some are lois get malchus, but they don't get misa. But with divrei seifrim, kol over divrei seifrim chayv misa. But on divrei seifrim, he's sefer. The pasuk says the pirate there is ishachanu nachash, and if his pirate gets her, he's not careful on the gedarim that the getter, the defenses that the seifrim made, and he's chayv misa. Maybe you'll say imish ben mamish. Maybe you'll say, well, if they're so important and if they have significance, why weren't they written in the Torah? So that's what the pasuk continues. There'd be no limit to it. So the Torah left it for future generations to make the gedarim and the gzeras as was needed for the time and for the place. And they can't incorporate it all in the Torah because it's unlimited as to what's needed at a certain time and place. The lag harbe yigia basar, the pasuk continues and says that lag harbe yigias basar, that much have much diligence and to work hard makes the basar weary. It makes the basar weary. Amar Papa Breder of Acha Bar Adam Ishmid of Acha Bar Ular Melamed Shekol Hamalig Al Divrei Chachamim Nidin B'Tzoyer Sachas. So to teach you the lag, he darshans from a lashon lag, a malig, one who makes fun, one who degrades and makes fun of the word of the Chachamim. He's nidain. It's with a giyas basar with Tzoyer Sachas. That's what he's punished with. So Maskev Rava Miksi Lag. It doesn't say lag, which means to scoff. It means to make fun, to deride, to make fun. Lag says lag. Ella he darshans it differently. Kol hachoige behem, someone who's a masman who studies them diligently is loig behem hachoige behem rather time tams basar. He has the meat, the real taste of the meat, and he has the real hana, someone who learns Torah b'hasmada rather. Tan Rabbanan, Ma'asav Rabbi Kiva, he was locked in prison. He was arrested and put in prison. And he was his servant. So what they gave him when he was in jail, when he was incarcerated, what they gave him was a certain minimal amount of water, a ma'amayim b'mida, and that's what they would give him, only a minimal amount of it. So the prison guard encountered Rabbi Yeshua one time, and Amar Loi, and he said to him, he says, today you have too much water. You have more water than you're supposed to have. Why are you taking so much water? Maybe you want to break out of prison. Maybe you want to use the water to now soften the earth and dig out from underneath and escape. He spilled on half of it, and he gave him only the half of the remaining. So Rabbi Kiva, when Yeshua came to Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Kiva said to him, Yeshua, don't you know that I'm already an old man? And my life is dependent on you. So why are you bringing me such a small amount of water? So Yeshua told him what happened. Rabbi Kiva said to him, give me the water that you gave me. It's not enough to wash my hands and to drink. They only gave him a minimal amount of water to begin with that would have been suitable for a little bit to wash and a little bit to drink, but they poured out half, so there wasn't enough for both. So he said, give me the water so I should wash. And he wasn't going to drink. There's not even enough for you to drink. And now you use it for washing, to wash your hands. And you think you have extra water that you can also wash your hands? Amar Lo Rabbi Kiva says, Ma'asa, what should I do? I have to wash my hands. If I don't wash, I'm over the Chiv de Rabbanan to wash, I'm Chay Misa. Mutav Amos Mitas Asmi. Better that I die Misa that's caused by myself, by not drinking, V'lo Yever Al Das Chaveri, and not be over on my Chaverim who said there's a Chiv to wash. Lo Tom Klum, they didn't eat anything, until they brought him the water, and not Yadav, and then he ate, but he didn't drink. When the Chum heard what Rabbi Kiva did, Amru Ma Beziknusakach, you see what he was in his old age when he was weak and how he was Meister Nefesh, Be'aldusa Achas Kama V'Kama. So too, Achas Kama certainly, Achas Kama V'Kama in his youth when he had more strength, that he would have been Meister Nefesh, he would have been Meister himself not to be Eiver and Chachamim. And Ma, when he was in prison, he was exerted himself to that extent. When he would not be in prison, when he would not have these difficult circumstances and situations, certainly he would have exerted himself all the more so. Tosfos mentions over here that he says, "Mutav amos misas asmi," better that I should die misas asmi. Now, Tosfos points out that even though we learned before that Arba Dvorim Peturim B'machna and Rochitzas Yadayim is one of them, so he really didn't have a chiyuv over here. When Kol Shekain in a Makam Sakana, but Tosfos says Machmer al Atzmahaya. He was Machmer on himself. So the Rishonim are very bothered that how could Rabbi Akiva be Machmer on himself? He says a lashon of Mutav that he says it's better that I should die. Almost Mrs. Hatzmi. It's mashma that he mamish put himself in a sakana. So it's mashma that he mamish was masakin himself. How can he be put himself in a sakana as the fashes? The Rishonim also bothered, why weren't there other eitzes? Why couldn't he be karech his hands with a mappe, cover his hands, and without touching the bread? Why couldn't he be eaten with pachas? Pachas, a little smaller, little bits and pieces where there was no shiur of a chiyuv netilas yadayim. So there's different terutzim that are given, but Tosfos Rabbeinu Peretz in the second teretz says that it doesn't mean that literally he was going to die and that he was going to be moist himself lemisa. I mean, what he meant to say is he was going to mitzar himself. The cheshbon was that he was going to be mitzar himself as if he was now in a life-threatening situation, with the anticipation, the hope anticipation that they'll see what Tsari is, and they'll bring him some more water. Meaning he put himself in a situation where if they Taka hadn't brought any water, then it could be that it would be a Malkum Sakana for Misa. But the anticipation was that they will see the Tsar and it wouldn't lead to that. So he said, Muta, almost Misas Atzmi, I'll do something now which now, if the situation doesn't change, it will be life-threatening, but the anticipation is that the situation would change once they see the Tsar, that they would bring water to him. Amar Yud Amar Shmuel B'shah Shetikin Shlomo Eruvin V'Netilas Yadayim. Shlomo Melech was Masakin Eruvin, that you need an Eruv, that you cannot go and you cannot carry, rather, from a house to a chaser, from a private rishus to a rishus in common without an eruv. And he was also misakin that netilas yadayim. When he did, then a Baskel came out and said, B'ni im chacham libecha yismach libi gamani. That, so my son, if your heart is wise, then my heart will also rejoice. Chacham b'ni v'samach libi v'ashiv yacharfi davar. My son is so wise, my heart rejoices, and I will answer those who disgrace me. So it was so chashuv that the takana that Shlomo Melech made, that a Baskel came out and said how unbelievable, how gewaldig it was. Tosfos asks, well, he's also Masakin Shnias Larayas. He was also Masakin as Arachaka, that we considered even a extra level, an extra generation. Shnias are also arayas, are considered to be arayas. So why wasn't that mentioned? Tosfos says because that was mentioned at a later. That was Shlomo Melech was Masakin rather at a later date. It wasn't at the same time. It was after the Baskel came out. Says, come, my one that's beloved one. Let's go out to the field, and we'll sleep in the villages. Nashkima lekromim, we'll get up early and go to the vineyards. Nira in Par Geffen, we'll see if the vineyards have flowered. Pasach hasmada, if the grapes have blossoms. Hinetzu reminder, if the pomegranates have started to bud, or if they're in bloom. Sham eten is doidilach. There I will give my ava to you over there in these places. So why dafka in these places? So the more darshans that it does it in a non-literal way. It means let's go out to the field. What does it mean? They Klal Yisrael said to Ribono Shel Olam, Ribono Shel Olam, Al Tidinenu b'Yeshei Krachim. Don't judge me like the people who live in the cities. Sheish B'hem Gezel V'Arayos or Shua Shav Shua Sheker. They have all these averas. The people live in the city. They have this contact with each other, business with each other. They're stealing. There's Shua Shav. There's Arayos. Neitze Asad, let's go out to the fields where we're not part of the commerce and the interaction that people have over there. And there I'll show you the people that are not involved in Masu Matan and in social exchanges. And I'll show you Talmidei Chachamim that they're learning Torah quietly, away from everything, in poverty. Now Lina B'Kfarim will go to sleep and will rest in the Kfarim of the villages. I'll take B'Kfarim El B'Kaifrim. Don't read it in Kfarim El B'Kaifrim. That it means the Kaifrim, the ones who are Kaifir, who are negate, who disbelieve. And I'll show you those, you gave them all this you gave them all this goodness, showered them with kindness, and they're Kaifrim. Let's go up early to the vineyards. I'll show you the shuls and the Batei Midrash. Nera in Parcha Again, let's see if the vine is flowered. Those are the ones who learn Mikra. Pita Asmada, the great blossom has opened. Mishnah. The pomegranates are in bloom. Gemara. Sham Eitin is Daidilach. There I'll give my Ava to you. There I'll show you the greatness, the praise, how wonderful your children are. I'll show you that your children are learning Torah Mitayach. They come early, go early to the Batei Knesses, Batei Midrashes. They're learning, and as opposed to the other ones that you gave them all kinds of, showered them with kindness and goodness, and they're kaifrim. Look how gavaldik, how wonderful your children are. So it says that Shlomo Melech, he said 3,000 Basholim, parables, and he had his songs were 1,005 songs. On everything in the Torah, on every halach in the Torah, he gave 3,000 Masholim. He gave 3,000 Masholim for everything in the Torah. Al kol davar v'davar shel seifrim chamish ve'el tamim. And on the seifrim, on what the Chacham said, he said reasons. He said 1,005 reasons for every one of the divrei seifrim. Darish Rava Ma'idechsiv v'Yaiser Shaya Kehelas Chacham Oid Limad Das Esa'am v'Izen v'Chiker Tikin v'Shalom Harbe. More than that, he was wise. He taught the people, and he listened, and he made many misholim. So Limed Das Esa'am, he taught Das to the people. Da'agme b'Simonetanim, he taught them the trop. V'Azra Ma'idadamile. And he explained things with Misholim. Ve'izen v'chikir v'tikin Misholim harbe. And he listened, and so Izen, he listened. And v'chikir, he was chayker, he analyzed. And tikin Misholim harbe, and he was masakin many Misholim. Amar ulamar Rabbi Elazar, b'tchila ha'isa Torah dem l'kaviv v'shen la'oznaim. So, beginning the Torah was like a basket that didn't have any handles. So it was hard. It was very hard to deal with it, to use it, because it didn't have handles. And Shlomo made oznaim. He made for it handles, meaning he made handles for it, just like a handle. So we darshan the word izen like oznaim, just like handles you can use now. It helps you to a basket, a container. Now you can use, facilitates using it. So too, the takonas of Shlomo Melech were able, enable us to keep the Torah, because he gave certain takonas, and the takonas gave for safeguards, and they enabled us to be mekayim the mitzvahs of the Torah. Ksusaisiv Taltolim, it says by Sher Shammai Shlomo, it says by Melech Shlomo Ksusaisiv Taltolim. His hair, the locks of his hair were wavy, He had curly hair. Amar of Chisda Amar Mar Ukva Melamed Sheyesh Lidra Shel Kol Kais V'Kais Tilik Til Mishalachas. So we darshan Kusaisov that Taltalim that we said al Kaitz. We darshan Kusaisov Loshon. And every point in the Torah you can darshan piles and piles of halachas on every point. Shchayres Kairev, the hair was dark and black as an Oiva raven. B'mi'ata moitzen, where do you find this Chachma of the Torah? So who do you find what? B'mi, Shemashkim Alei on the Beis HaMedrash, the one who comes early to the Beis HaMedrash. So that we say, we darshan the lotion of Shchayres is Shachris, that he's and gets up early to the Beis Medrash. Umar v'leim, the lotion of an oirev or a raven, that is arvis, that is ka'oirev. So he's mashkim and mariv, like shchayres, like an oirev. He's mashkim mariv. Once gets early to the shul, to the Beis Medrash, stays late and comes home late. Rabba Amar b'misha mashra upon v'leim ka'oirev. You find someone who's such a masmid, he learns with such hasmada that he's turns black, that his face is black. So he's so exhausted from the learning from the hasmada that he's dark like a raven. That's where you find it from. Rava says differently. He says, "It's known that the oyer of the bird is achzori. He's very stingy, and he doesn't show kindness to his children." So if you find someone who is achzori, as he's cruel like a raven, he doesn't show kindness to his children like a raven, meaning he's learning with such a smada that he in a certain way neglects the needs of his family because he's learning with such a smada. He went to the Beis Medrash to learn, and Amar L'Beisa, he says to his wife, Amr L'Beisa, rather, his wife asked him, what am I supposed to do with your children? You're going away, and you're going to learn, and you're leaving me alone over here with the children. What am I supposed to do? And with the children, what am I going to do with your children? Amar Lo, he said to her, Mishlima Kume Bagoma, are there no more wild vegetables in the marsh? Let them go eat and pick the vegetables that are growing wild. So he, like a raven, he had his children, so to speak, fend for themselves, and he went to learn Bahasmana.